Ray looked at Bear, a smirk blending skepticism and greed. "So, our treasure hunter. You've had all night to think. Where are you going to lead us?" Bear took a deep breath, feeling the wounds on his mouth and back still throbbing with pain, but his will was undiminished. He knew he was betting both his and Anna's lives, but this was the only chance. He had to stall, to find out more about the symbol on that small piece of paper. "Not right away," Bear said, trying to keep his voice calm. "This treasure isn't simple. The people before were very clever. They left clues. And I need more time to decipher them." Celia scoffed. "Clues? Deciphering? Do you think we're playing a puzzle game, Bear? Are you trying to stall?" "I swear I'm not," Bear replied, looking directly into Celia's eyes. "If I lie, you'll never find it. And you'll kill me. That doesn't help anyone. I just need a little time. I need something to clarify those clues." Ray crossed his arms, his eyes narrowing. "What thing? What do you want?" Bear glanced around the room. He needed something to write with, to draw. And he needed something to explore the crack in the wall more thoroughly, without them suspecting. "I need a pencil and a piece of paper," Bear said. "To draw what I remember. And I need a flashlight. That crack is too dark." Brute nodded and left the room. The dog remained at his feet, its eyes still fixed on Bear. While Brute was gone, Bear whispered to Anna, keeping his voice as low as possible so Ray and Celia wouldn't hear. "Are you okay, Anna?" "I'm sorry, I have no other choice." Anna nodded weakly, still trembling. I'm okay, Uncle Bear. But please don't lie to them anymore. They'll kill you." "I'm not lying completely," Bear whispered. "That symbol, I think it means something. I have to find out what it is." Brute returned, carrying a dull pencil, a yellowed piece of paper, and a small, old flashlight. He threw them down in front of Bear. "You have 30 minutes, Ray said. And if you come up with nothing of value, the fun will begin." Quickly picked up the pencil and paper. He looked at the fragment of the photograph, where the tiny symbol was. He tried to recreate it on the paper. It was a diamond with a horizontal line through the middle, and a small dot in the upper left corner. "What is it, Uncle Bear?" Anna whispered, leaning down to look at Bear's drawing. "I don't know," Bear said, his eyes focused on the paper. "But it looks like a map, or a direction." He used the flashlight, shining it into the crack in the wall. The weak light pierced the gap, but it didn't reach far. Bear tried to reach his hand in deeper, fumbling around. Ray and Celia stood watching, their faces full of suspicion. "What are you looking for, Bear?" Celia asked. "I'm looking for other clues," Bear said. "The people before were very careful. They surely didn't leave just one symbol." He felt something cold and hard inside the crevice. He tried to pry it out with his fingers. After a few moments, a small piece of metal fell out. It was an old, rusty keychain of a strange shape. Engraved on the keychain was a single letter, M. Bear held up the keychain for Ray and Celia to see. "Here's another clue. A letter." Ray snatched the keychain. "M? What is M?" "I don't know," Bear said. "But it definitely means something. It's not random." Celia grabbed the keychain from Ray's hand, staring at it. Her expression began to change, from skepticism to a bit of curiosity, then to a flicker of greed. "M." While Ray and Celia were occupied with the keychain, Bear turned to Anna, whispering quickly. "Anna, use the flashlight and shine it into the crack in the floor, the one you pointed out earlier. There might be something there." Anna nodded, trying to stay calm. She took the flashlight, bent down to the crack in the floor where Brute had pried up the board. She shone the light in. "Do you see anything?" Bear whispered. Anna held her breath. The flashlight beam illuminated the space beneath the floor. She saw something. A small, old wooden box, hidden under a layer of dust and cobwebs. "I see it," Anna whispered, her voice trembling with excitement. "A box. A wooden box." Bear signaled for Anna to be quiet. He knew he couldn't let Ray and Celia know about the box just yet. He needed a plan. "What are you doing, little girl?" Celia asked, turning to Anna. "Did you find something?" Anna flinched, hastily turning off the flashlight. "No, nothing. I was just looking." Celia narrowed her eyes at Anna, but she wasn't overly suspicious. Her attention was still focused on the M keychain and the treasure Bear had mentioned. Bear looked at Ray. He knew this was the moment he had to act. He couldn't delay any longer. I think I know where it is," Bear said. "But it's not in this room." Ray and Celia looked at each other, then at Bear. Greed was written all over their faces. "What are you talking about?" Ray asked, his voice full of menace. "If it's not here, then where is it?" "It's outside," Bear said. "In a secret place on this farm. It's buried." Celia scoffed. "Buried? You think we're going to dig up this entire farm just because of one of your stories?" Ray thought for a moment. He wanted the money. He didn't want to waste time. Bear's words, though risky, had a certain persuasive power. "All right," Ray said, his voice cold. "You have your chance, Bear. But Brute will go with you. And if you have any stupid ideas," he pointed to Brute's rifle, "then that will be your last mistake." Celia nodded, a chilling smile on her lips. "Don't worry, Anna," Bear whispered. "I'll be back." Anna nodded, tears streaming down her face again. She watched as Bear was dragged out of the attic room by Brute and down the dark staircase. Celia locked the door, the metallic click echoing in the silence. She turned to Anna, still holding the fragment of the photograph and the M keychain. "So, little girl," Celia said, her voice dripping with menace. "Now it's just the two of us. And I have a lot of questions for you. Starting with, why did you lie about the money?" "Don't try to be clever, Bear," Ray growled. "If you try to run, Brute won't hesitate to pull the trigger. And after that, the little girl up there will be the next target." Bear said nothing, only nodding. He knew Ray wasn't joking. He had to keep a cool head. He had to figure out the meaning of that symbol and the letter M, and more importantly, he had to find a way out. They walked down the rotten staircase, out of the old, decaying farmhouse. The air outside was fresher, but also full of danger. Ray and Celia's farm was isolated, surrounded by desolate fields and a small forest. There were no other signs of life around. Ray stopped in the middle of the yard, turning to Bear. "So, Code Breaker, where is your treasure? Where do we start?" Bear looked around the yard. His mind was racing. The diamond-shaped symbol with a horizontal line and a small dot. The letter M. He needed a real clue, something to connect these elements. He recalled the words of the previous victims in the photograph, "They caught us. We never escaped." Perhaps, the treasure wasn't money. Perhaps, it was an escape route. "That symbol," Bear said, pointing to the forest. "It seems to be a pointer. To a location. I think it's in the forest." Ray and Brute looked at each other. "In the forest?" Ray asked, his voice full of suspicion. "Are you trying to lead us into a trap?" "If it's a trap," Bear said, "I'd be in it with you. Why would I do that?" He looked at Ray, trying to appear sincere. "Trust me. Those people, they were very smart. They wouldn't have hidden it in an easy-to-find place." Ray thought for a moment, then nodded. "All right. But Brute will go first. And you'll walk right behind him. If he detects any sign of trickery, you'll be the first to pay the price." They moved into the forest. The trees were dense, and faint light filtered through the thick canopy. The Rottweiler went ahead, its nose sniffing vigorously at the ground. Brute followed right behind, his rifle always at the ready. Bear was in the middle, and Ray was last, his eyes never leaving Bear. Bear tried to recall every detail of the forest. The stream. The old oak tree. And something else. A large, strangely shaped rock near the stream. He remembered that once, while digging a hole to bury something, he had accidentally dropped his shovel into a crevice beneath that rock. "The letter M," Bear whispered, trying to connect it with the symbol in the photograph. "What is M? A clue? A map? Or a name?" He remembered that when Celia mentioned the letter M, her eyes had a peculiar look. As if it evoked something deeper. They went deeper into the forest. The air grew colder, more humid. The chirping of birds mingled with the heavy footsteps of the four of them. "Stop," Bear said suddenly. Ray and Brute stopped immediately, Brute's rifle aimed straight at him. Bear pointed to an ancient tree, its trunk gnarled with a large hollow near the base. "That's the place they mentioned. It's near there." Ray and Brute looked at each other, then moved toward the tree. Ray kicked at the base of the tree with his foot, trying to search. Meanwhile, Bear looked around. He saw the small stream babbling nearby, and the large, strangely shaped rock. He remembered. "The diamond symbol," Bear said, trying to explain. "And the letter M. It means something hidden. Something that once belonged to someone. A place that only those who know can find." Ray wasn't listening to Bear. He was busy digging around the base of the tree, hoping to find something. Brute remained on guard, his rifle ever ready. "Are you sure it's here, Bear?" Ray growled, starting to lose his patience. "I think so," Bear said, but his gaze was fixed on the large rock near the stream. He remembered once, while digging a hole, he had heard the sound of running water beneath that rock. Suddenly, Brute's Rottweiler caught a scent. The dog began to growl, its ears pricked up. It pointed its nose toward the stream. "What is it, Brute?" Ray asked. Brute shook his head, his eyes still fixed on the stream. "I don't know, boss. But this dog is sniffing out something." The dog started barking loudly, pulling Brute toward the large rock. Brute tried to hold it back, but the dog was too strong. "Easy now," Brute roared. "What is it, Zeus?" The dog, named Zeus, continued to bark, pulling Brute to the rock. Its nose pawed aggressively at the damp earth at the base of the rock. Ray and Bear looked at each other. Bear knew he was getting close to the truth. He remembered that when his shovel fell into the crevice under the rock, it had made a hollow sound. "I think it's there," Bear said, pointing at the rock. "Under that rock. There's a crevice." Ray and Brute looked at the rock. There was a small opening, obscured by dirt and moss. Zeus continued to bark, clawing furiously at the crevice. "How do you know?" Ray asked, his eyes full of suspicion. I once accidentally dropped something down there," Bear said. "It made a hollow sound. There might be a cave or a tunnel underneath." Greed won over Ray's suspicion. He signaled to Brute. "Go check it out. Be careful." "Can't see anything, boss," Brute said. "Use a flashlight." Ray growled. "And that dog, pull it away." Brute tried to pull Zeus away, but the dog was too aggressive. It kept barking, trying to squeeze into the opening. While Brute and Ray were preoccupied with the rock and the dog, Bear looked around. This was his chance. He had to find a way out. He glanced at the stream. The current was strong. Bear suddenly had an idea. He recalled the diamond-shaped symbol with the horizontal line and the small dot. And the letter M. "M," Bear whispered. "A clue or a name?" He remembered Celia had a peculiar reaction when she mentioned the letter M. As if it were a name. A person's name. And then, a horrific truth flashed through Bear's mind. He recalled Ray and Celia's threats. The ones before paid the price. No one ever escaped. And the old photograph. The woman in the picture, her eyes held a familiar fear. Could it be that M wasn't a treasure, but a grave? If so, then the treasure they were looking for wasn't gold and silver, but evidence. Evidence of Ray and Celia's crimes. Ray and Brute were trying to move the rock. It was too heavy. Ray signaled for Brute to use a shovel to dig around it. Bear looked at the stream. He knew he didn't have much time. He had to act. While Ray and Brute were busy, Bear suddenly bolted toward the stream. "Run!" he shouted. Ray and Brute were startled. "The bastard!" Ray roared. Brute immediately aimed his gun at Bear, but Bear had already dived into the stream, sending water splashing everywhere. "Shoot him!" Ray screamed. Brute pulled the trigger. Bang! The gunshot shattered the silence of the forest. Bear dived underwater, trying to avoid the bullets. The water was freezing, but he had no other choice. He swam as fast as he could, trying to hide behind rocks and bushes. Ray and Brute ran along the bank of the stream, trying to find Bear. The dog, Zeus, also leapt into the water, barking frantically, trying to pick up his scent. Bear knew he couldn't escape forever. They had a gun, and that dog would find him. He needed a plan. A plan to come back and save Anna. He dived deep, trying to catch his breath. When he resurfaced, he saw Ray and Brute still searching for him. And then, he saw it. A small cave, hidden by a small waterfall and dense bushes. It was the place where he had accidentally dropped the shovel. Bear swam to the cave, trying to hide inside. He knew he only had one chance. He had to find something in there. Something that could save him and Na. Meanwhile, Ray and Brute were still looking for Bear. Ray was furious. He knew Bear was trying to trick him. "I will find you, Bear," Ray roared. "And when I do, you and that little girl will pay." Celia smiled a sinister smile, her eyes gleaming with sadistic amusement. She slowly placed the fragment of the photograph on the floor, lightly nudging it with the tip of her toe. "Did you hear that, little girl?" Celia said, her voice low but menacing. "That's the sound of shattered hope. It seems your hero isn't so lucky." Anna hugged her knees, trying to hold back her tears, but they kept flowing. "No, it can't be. Bear. He'll be fine." "Oh, I'm not sure," Celia said, standing up and circling Anna, like a predator circling its prey. "Ray never forgives betrayal. And Bear defied him. The price is always high." She stopped in front of Anna, crouched down, her cold eyes boring into her. "Now, back to your story, Anna. Why did you lie about the money? Did you think you could fool us so easily?" Anna cringed. She knew she couldn't tell the truth about not having any money. Celia would never believe her. She had to come up with another story. I really did hide it," Anna stammered. "But I don't remember exactly where." "Don't lie to me, girl," Celia growled. "Do you think I'm stupid? Ray might be soft on Bear's lies, but I'm not. I know you're hiding something. And I'm going to find out." Celia looked around the room, her eyes landing on the crack in the wall where Bear had tried to pry it open. "What were you and that old man doing here? Looking for something? A secret exit?" She kicked the crack, knocking a small piece of wood out. "It's useless. No one gets out of here. No one." She turned back to Anna, her eyes threatening. "This place is the grave of hope. And you, Anna, will soon learn that too." Anna struggled to stand, her eyes fixed on Celia, but deep down, she kept thinking about Bear. The gunshot, what did it mean? Was Bear still alive? Suddenly, Celia stopped, her eyes narrowing. She looked down at the floor, where Anna had pointed to an old floorboard when she lied about the money. Celia bent down, Looking more closely at the small crack in the floorboard. Anna held her breath. Her heart pounded. Celia was approaching the secret wooden box. Celia put her hand into the crack, trying to pry open the board. "You lied about hiding the money here, didn't you, little girl?" Celia said, her voice filled with doubt. "So, what were you doing here? What did you find?" Anna. Celia tried to pry harder. Finally, the panel gave way. Celia reached under it, groping. Her fingers touched something hard. She pulled it out. It was the small, old wooden box that Baron Anna hadn't had time to hide. Celia looked at the box, then at Anna, a sinister smile on her lips. "Oh, so this is what you've been hiding, little girl? You think you can hide it from us?" She opened the box. Inside, there was no money. Instead, there were a few old knickknacks, a tarnished silver ring, a small comb broken in half, and an old, yellowed letter. Celia picked up the letter, her eyes scanning the old handwriting. Her face changed. From amusement, it turned to surprise, then to incomprehensible horror. "No, it can't be," Celia whispered, her voice trembling. This is..." Anna looked at Celia, not understanding what was happening. She knew it was the box of the people who had been imprisoned here, the people in the photograph. "Celia, where did you find this?" Celia growled, looking at Anna, her voice filled with anger and fear. "Tell me, where did you find this?" Anna cringed. Celia stood up, her eyes darting around the room in panic. She looked at the old photograph torn to shreds on the floor, then at the wooden box and its contents. "No, it can't be," Celia repeated, her voice a whisper, filled with utter fear. "It can't be real. They're dead. Dead." She began to shake violently. The letter fell from her hand. Celia seemed to be haunted by something terrible from the past. Celia didn't answer. She suddenly let out a terrible scream, like a wounded animal. She ran to the door, pounding on it, trying to unlock it. "Ray! Ray!" Celia screamed, her voice filled with panic. "Ray! Something's wrong! Something's wrong!" Celia's scream echoed in the room, then faded into silence. Anna looked at Celia, then at the wooden box and the letter on the floor. A big question arose in her mind: what was in that letter that had made Celia, who was cruel and cold, so panicked? And was it the key for her and Bear to escape this place?